Viewers, welcome to the program of Maarifa. Today we have a visitor from the United States of America, who is Dr. Peter Baofu. He's going to introduce himself. He's a very extraordinary scholar in 148 books. He's now traveling almost to 100 different nations, in which he talk to the media and to the universities about his theories. Now, would you please introduce yourself, Doctor?
Okay, first let me say thank you for inviting me. I have written more than 148 books, and in relation to the mind, nature, society, and culture, which means that I have written in all topics. The reason I do that is because I want to come up with some new visions about the future. I have proposed more than 115 of them on all topics, whether in the social sciences, the natural sciences, the formal sciences, or the humanities. That's why I said in relation to the mind, nature, society, and culture. And that is very important. And the reason that I go into this global tour is because I want to discover humanity on the ground, not just by reading a book in the library or talking to someone or just watching a documentary, but to discover something on the ground, to engage with the people. And that, I think, can give me some new insight about humanity in a way that no one has done before. So that's a very, very tremendous project that I have been doing.
Okay, that's something very, very interesting, that you are almost excelling, almost roaming, almost touching all sciences we know. And at the same talk, that one would ask, as what influences you, to have such like writings, talk about the theories, and the grand theories, the main three ones.
You remind me about a question that in another African country, AFI Radio, maybe you know the AFI Radio, they interviewed me last year for about an hour.
Yeah.
I remember the guy asked me this question and say, okay, who influenced you? And how come you could do something that many other people could not do? And here was my answer to him. Let me repeat what I said to him to you. I think there are two things which help me out. One is my unusual mind, which is genetic. The other one is environmental. I think that I have, in fact, that is an environmental privilege, that I grew up in a family who supported me, to encourage me to be a scholar, to be educated. My parents were not that well educated, but they said to me, they said, we could do everything to support you, because we did not have it. We know what it was like. So we do not want you to be in the same position. They supported me, they encouraged me. But even if they did not encourage me, I was already in that path anyway, because ever since I was a little kid, I was interested in everything. I was always asked different things. Even if people did not give me an answer which I like, I was thinking in my head that I could pursue them when I get older. So this unusual mind is one genetic. The environment. I also was educated in some of the best universities in the world. I also taught in them. I was also at MIT, by the way. I was also at Harvard. I was also at Johns Hopkins. I was also at Northwestern. I was also at Georgetown. I was in many of the schools because I grew up in the U.S. I was educated in the U.S. I also received my high school education in the U.S., in California, in Nevada. So that is a privilege. And many of my professors, and many of them are very well known and very, very privileged for me to know them. So that is the environmental benefit that I have. But on the other hand, the genetic one, unless you have my mind, you cannot do what I do. Even if you spend the same amount of time, you will not produce them. That is the genetic law. I cannot do anything about it.
Yeah. In fact, as I've said, you are privileged. For example, when one mentions that there have been a schooling at the Massachusetts Institute, that is very great, and a good number of universities you have mentioned about.
By the way, one thing that people do not know, since you mentioned this question, I got my PhD from MIT.
Okay.
But I took only 2 courses at MIT for credit.
MIT mean the Massachusetts Institute
Yes,
of Technology,
which has been ranked, I think, together with Harvard as at the top 2 schools in the world in many of the rankings. Sometimes they change the position, but the point is
you
that
talk about the top 2.
Yeah.
Massachusetts and then which one?
And Harvard.
And Harvard.
They are often ranked at the top 2 schools in the world, not just in the U.S.
Over the world, yes.
You can take a look into the rankings, but the point I'm trying to make is that you talk about how can I do this. You need to have the combination. I also have written some works about people who are very successful in history. And one thing I have discovered in my publication is that many of those people who are very unusual in human history often have these 2 combinations that I just said. On the one hand, they have a very unusual mind, which is genetic. On the other hand, in one way or the other, they just happen to be in the right place at the right time, somehow in that environment, and somehow the environment provoked them to, and they somehow get some benefit from that. And they say, wow, this is what I saw. No,
Somebody
look
was
at Buddha, Jesus Christ, Karl Marx, I told you. All these people, look at them. They live at certain time. The time was difficult for them, and yet it was the right time. They allowed them to see a lot of things, but they also have an unusual mind too. So they use the unusual mind to analyze them, to propose some new ideas. All 2 of them work together nicely.
Right time, right place, brought up in an environment which is so conducive.
But you need to have here too.
Yeah. Dear, ladies and gentlemen, we have been together with Dr. Peter Diop from the United States with new ideas. I would rather see them as if they are like revelations for the next generation, whereby we talk about the post-democracy world and the post-capitalism world, that there will be new ideas and new isms, if not new belief or new way of doing things all over the world in terms of economy, the politics, the region and the relations all over the world. But what really has touched me is to do with avoiding copying too much of the ideas, too much of the systems, the way of life, and relations, so as to be in one or another, standing on our own heels, be original, and think the way we just can persevere in development intricacies. Thank you very much for watching us. This is a Maarifa program. Next time we have to invite Dr. Diop. I don't know when time comes, and if at all be there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.